Welcome to our Gold Derby TV Showrunners panel. I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, here with Amanda Peet, co-creator and showrunner for The Chair, Clyde Phillips, creator and showrunner for the Dexter revival New Blood, David S. Goyer, co-creator and showrunner for Foundation, Prentice Penny, showrunner for Insecure, and Rafe Judkins, showrunner for The Wheel of Time. You know, I always love to know from showrunners, I'm sorry to have to start in a slightly negative way, but it's kind of fascinating to me, what is a showrunner's worst nightmare? What keeps you up at night when you're right in the thick of production? Who would love to regale us first?
I think for me, there's like the specific, that I think I might be the only one in this particular group, but there's definitely the panic of misspeaking to an actor, like, because I'm an actress, like if I'm just like, hey, could you give us some tears in this one, or like ask for a result, or just don't speak the proper like actor language. That would sometimes get me in my head. Like I'd be like, can I just what's it called? Can I just have a shorthand with these people or what? So most of the time I would be very confident that I could actually just sort of be like, hey, look, we're running out of time. Can you just all stand in the corner so we can do a oneer? But there was a part of me that sometimes was like, maybe I should be like, guys, I really feel that everyone should be in this shot together because blah, 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 like, do I have to like fake it to my actors? That was like a big thing for me as a former actor or whatever. I'm still trying to be an actor. I'm available. Yeah. I have an 8x10. Yeah. Can you guys help me out?
Your headshot is my screensaver. So. Yeah.
I can see Amanda on Dexter New Blood season 2, perhaps, if that ever happens. So look,
here you go again.
Here we go again. Yeah. We'll get talking later. But you know what? That's true, Amanda, because are you on that team or are you on the showrunner team? And that's got to be a challenge. Who else?
Yeah, what other? There's so much more to showrunning than just shooting, and it's the writings phase is critical. And my worst nightmare is when a script comes in and I'm reading it and I understand that there goes my weekend. I'm going to be rewriting all weekend. And then also, what do I do with that writer? In years past, I would keep giving the writer another chance and another chance, and then we would fall behind. And then you put the writer in the penalty box and make them come up with some character stuff or something like that. And I ended up rewriting it anyway. So now I just rewrite it anyway. And sometimes I've just let the writer go. And that's really difficult, knowing that he or she doesn't get the show and it's just going to cost us more time. And then sometimes the writers off of my rewrite will grow. And in fact, I've just, sometimes they'll grow and become, because it's a learning experience, particularly for younger writers in the room. And we want to have as broad a spectrum as possible. So just to distill it again, is when I get a script and I go, God damn it, and can't have to cancel my weekend. My biggest nightmare.
It's like the things that you don't anticipate and that you can't possibly anticipate, because so often,
I was just about to say,
unknown raging that you don't know about, and then they're going to come to you when no one else knows what to do. So like, I remember being on set one night on this huge fantastical forest we built the forest, so it's not a real forest, but it was so huge you couldn't see the ends of it. And one of the producer came up and goes, we've lost Rosamund Pike in the forest and we don't know if she's fine. And I'm like, how is this my problem? But I have to go. And I put on my hiking boots, went into the forest. I found Rosamund, figured out what was going on with her phone. You just have to address whatever is happening in that moment. And you cannot anticipate it.
What was going on with Rosamund Pike?
Oh, it's really creepy. Someone had left a purse in front of her house, and then she was trying to talk on the phone and just got lost in the forest. And so she was sitting off somewhere. It was not a crisis at all. Anyone could have just called her name and we would have been fine. But people thought it was a crisis, and that's
Freak out about actresses. Am I right, everybody?
Yeah. I think it's it's the unknown unknowns. It's the, we had, because of COVID once, we had an actor break a limb, so you're going along and then suddenly, boop, that actor's out. Or we had an actor, because of COVID, not be able to come back. And we're, I don't know if everyone else's show is like that, but we cross-board all 10 episodes. So, we're shooting things from episode 10 and episode 1. And we had more than one instance where we couldn't get an actor back, and we shot sort of half their arc or half their scene, and we had to completely pivot and recast on the fly. And to me, it's those big kind of giant unknowns that you can't possibly anticipate, and then you have to pivot.
Yeah, our show is super location based. And a lot of times we're going into locations in neighborhoods that don't know anything about filming or the process of that. And you're like, we got like half of a day to be here or a day to be here. And you're like, literally nothing can go wrong today. Like literally, if there is one hiccup, it screws up the whole, and literally it would be like, oh, somebody's grandmother had a stroke, so they're just not here. You're just like, well, that's the day. That's it right there. Like, that's the first thing that goes wrong. And you're just like, well, this is how we're doing. You know what I mean? So you're like, it's those, I totally agree. It's the things that you just can never anticipate, or something you're like, I just would never have thought. Like there's a wolf in this, like we had one thing where there was a wolf had gotten to the neighborhood and was chasing a guy, had like chickens at his property. And we were filming next door, and it was just, the wolf was just after the chickens. And it was just, you're like rolling, and it's like wolves are howling and chickens are going, and you're just like, you cut, it's quiet. The second you say action, here come the wolves and the chickens. And you're just like, well, this is all ADR. I guess we're just gonna all ADR this whole scene. So it's those things where you're just like, I just need everything to go perfect, and it doesn't.
But here's the thing, having done this for a long time, so if you surround yourself with the right people and are agile enough to handle what comes along, I mean, we've all been through it.
Yeah.
It always gets done.
Sure.
And that's what I hold when whatever has happened. We were shooting in the snow in Western Massachusetts on a frozen lake, and thank you, Mr. Climate Change, everything melted the next day, and we had to rebuild roads and put it all back together. And we all knew it was going to get done because we've all been through all these disasters before. And if you're surrounded by the right people, you make it work.
Yeah.
We were shooting in Iceland, 80-mile-an-hour winds. We had one day shut down because of the winds. We got up again the next day, and right where we were standing, there was an unexploded ordnance from World War II, literally next to one of the actors and the camera, and they had to call the bomb squad and blow it up. And that day was canceled.
Wow. See what I mean? Like, but honestly, if someone had said to me, guess which show had the chickens and the wolves, I would not have guessed.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm just putting that out there. But that's so fascinating. Like any leader, showrunners are problem solvers, and you're always trying to find solutions. And frankly, it sounds really, really exhausting. But so props to you all. My final question for the panel before we go is my favorite. I always ask this. Looking back over the years, is there a series, filmmaker, or something like that that you watch over and over, or that moved you, that you love, that's inspired you the most? Open question to you all. It's a hard one, I know, but like, what's your favorite thing that you
pick? Just one.
If you can just pinpoint one, because like, for example, like I watched The Silence of the Lambs when I was 11 years old. Don't tell child services because my parents will be in huge trouble, but I loved that when I was a kid, and that probably is the reason why I'm a little bit, off kilter. What about you guys? What do you love?
I mean, I have a bad one, but Jurassic Park for me, when I was a kid, it was the first movie I saw that gave you that sense of awe, of just feeling like you saw something you couldn't imagine was possible and had like a transformative experience in the theater. And I think, that's, in a lot of times, that's what we're aspiring to, is giving someone like some experience that they'll remember later in their life. So that's one that always sticks with me, or I can watch that anytime that's on, just because I remember what it was like being a kid watching it.
Yeah.
For me, it was Breakfast. It was John Hughes seeing like Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. Like I remember as a kid, most kid movies were kind of kiddie or like, but to have like a movie like his that played with tone in such a very specific way of like scenes could be comedic and then dramatic and kind of switch without you knowing that this switch is about to happen. I just felt he captured young voices in such a way that I was like, that's how me and my friends talk to each other. Like normally it was like, you know, you can feel the writer, and even though I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant, but you could feel the dialogue felt like way kids don't talk. And that was the first time that I was like, wow, you can like do this at a level that's like an adult movie is, that has like, that's real and feels authentic. And that was the movie that I was like, well, this is really cool to like, which is again, like working on Insecure and shows like that, it's no surprise probably thinking about it now. They're like, oh yeah, like playing with tone and those types of things kind of resonate with me.
Yeah.
For me, it was All in the Family. It's Norman Lear. All in the Family? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. It showed me, it's what made me want to become a TV writer, honestly, to see that, and basically, if you watch it, I've rewatched some of them recently on YouTube, it's basically a two-hander. It's two actors in a room for the whole show, and then occasionally Rob Reiner and Sally Struthers will come in, or occasionally somebody will knock at the door, and it should also always be, whatever you do needs to be about something. Whether it's you're shooting a show in outer space or downtown Los Angeles or in a galaxy that we've never heard of, the show needs to be about something. It needs to have a message. You need to be able to say something to make people think. Whether they're laughing or crying, I want them thinking.
That's so true. Who else? David, Amanda.
I mean, I would say, I mean, this is more recent, but I just am in complete awe of Breaking Bad and just the journey that those characters took, and I'm in awe of Gilligan. I'm in awe of that whole stable of writers. That is I think a textbook example of using long form television to watch characters grow and change, you know, turn a character from, you know, a nebbish into a crime lord and watch, you know, I also love when characters do what's right for the character, but goes against their own best interests. And I think Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are a masterclass of that, because I think that's when it gets really exciting, because in real life, people do things against their own best interests all the time. But in writers' rooms, we don't always plot that way. And it's interesting when the character says, no, I'm going to do this instead of what makes sense for the plot.
And last but not least, Amanda.
It's so hard to pick, but maybe recently Dave. The show Dave.
Loved Dave.
Oh, incredible. So surprising. Yeah.
I guess I felt like they're really talking about a lot of really serious issues, including race and celebrity and celebrity culture and gender and all of these different things, but not in a way that feels pedantic, not in a way that feels like homework. It feels like just really brilliant in that way, like a sleight of hand, because you're confronting and mental illness, you know, the one from last season where they follow Gaeta for the whole time and his bipolar, and I just find it to be really shocking how specific it is and how well it's tackling these incredible issues of our time right now, but in a really kind of manageable, easy way. Like I still get so excited to watch it, even though I'm going to be confronted with some serious shit. So yeah.
So good. Well, TV can be so transformative when we really immerse ourselves and stuff like that. I was going to say for films, one of my favorite things of all time is In the Dark Knight, but I didn't want to make David feel uncomfortable. But that's as he's head out of the cop car, and that just brings some tears to my eyes. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Well, Robert, speaking of showrunner nightmares, I've got in 15 minutes a notes call on my 8th episode from the network. So you know what that feels like, guys.
Oh yeah, just woosah, breathe, center yourself. Well, good luck with that, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. All of your shows are so inspiring to so many millions of people, and good luck in the upcoming months ahead. And we hope to see you again soon on Gold Derby. Everybody else, stick with Gold Derby. This is where it's all happening this award season. I'm Rob Licuria. See you next time.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Fun.